What is going on, everybody? Happy New Year. Quick little quick little happy new year to everybody, no matter where you're at. It is January 1st on the East Coast of the United States in the afternoon. And I just wanted to give a quick little update to anyone running Flux nodes. So if you watched my video from last year on how to set it up on a Raspberry Pi, one of the I guess one of the things that I set mine up with was with a 64 gigabyte micro SD card. And if that's the case for you, you're going to run into the same issue I did over the last, I'd say, maybe like 3 or 4 days. This is now so I'm running 5 Cumulus nodes. This is the last one I'm doing. And I figured I'd do a quick little video, very, very quick video on how to fix this, because this is an issue I ran into, and I know everybody else is going to run into it. If you look over here, when I jumped into the multi-tool in the Flux operating system, I did a quick little check, and you could see that it just popped up a bunch of errors. And just doing a quick little run through, I was having issues with the daemon. So one of the devs in the Flux Discord just gave me the tip to go ahead and run a download for the newest bootstrap through multi-tool. And I went ahead and did that. This is essentially what, let me pull it up here. This is exactly what I did. Let's see, preview right here. Boom. So this is what I did. I downloaded the bootstrap, went to install it, and you can see that I was running into a lot of issues where it was telling me that I had no space left on the device, right? No space left. And again, I was running a 64 gigabyte micro SD card in this. You could see all of the errors that it was giving me. So I went ahead and jumped into terminal, did a quick little check of what I had open. And let's see if I can find it real quick. Here you go. Boom. So this is what I was able to pull up. This is a screenshot of my actual Cumulus Flux node. You could see I was running it with there's 59 gigs of RAM or gigs of space open on this micro SD card. And it was only 63 megabytes. So it was completely used up for the Flux operating system. So I went ahead, jumped on Amazon, picked up a 128 gigabyte micro SD card. And I'm going to run you through real quick on how to fix your issue if you are running a Flux node Cumulus node specifically on a 64 gigabyte micro SD card. All right, so this is pretty quick, very easy to do. I'll drop some links down as well. If you need to, again, I purchased mine through Amazon. I'll drop a link on the ones that I picked up. They were, they were on sale. I think I picked them up for like 40% off. And obviously, I'll drop a link if you are starting a Flux node and you need to do this from scratch. I'll drop a link as well for the previous video. It's still applicable, just you're going to want to use a bigger micro SD card. All right. So with that, here's what we've got to do. All right. Let me throw in my desktop. Here we go. And first thing we have to do is I'm going to use my Raspberry Pi imager, pull that up. I've got my 128 gigabyte micro SD card that I'm going to throw Ubuntu on. All right, so let's throw this bad boy over here. We're going to pick the operating system. So we're going to go over to other general operating system. We're going to find Ubuntu. And this is the key where I think a lot of people fall into. You don't want to use the most updated Ubuntu server. You want to find the So you don't want to use 22.04. You want to find the 20.04, and this one is .5. So if you're using a Raspberry 4, you're going to want the 64-bit right here. So this is the long-term support Ubuntu server 20.4.5, and this is for Raspberry 4. Okay. For me, I'm not, again, you can see this is the 22. I want the 20.04. So I'm going to click on this, choose my storage, which is going to be my 128 gigabyte micro SD card. Go over to settings if you haven't done this already. And one of the things that you want to do is, for me, I'm going to enable SSH. Okay. And you can put if you're going to want to set a username and password, it's defaulted all automatically to Ubuntu. But if you want to make it, so in this case here, I'm going to make mine Pi. I'm going to throw in a quick password. Okay. And yeah, sounds good. So I'm going to make sure I hit save, and now I'm going to hit write, click yes, throw in my password to do this. All right. And I'm going to let it write. So typically it takes about 5-6 minutes. I'll be back as soon as this is done. Alrighty, so there we go. That took about, I think, like 7 minutes. So it has been written to my mass storage device, my micro SD. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head into, I'm actually just going to remove the SD card from the computer, drop it into my Raspberry Pi, and we're going to go from there. So give me 1 second to do that. Alrighty, so here we go. She's plugged in. And if you've already set this up, right, if you've followed my directions in the first video, you've reserved that IP address. So for me, my IP address is going to be the last three are going to be 138. So I'm going to be logging into SSH. Here we go. SSH Pi, right? Because that's what I set my username as at 192.168.50.138. All right. So if you come across this, right, what we're going to have to do is we are going to have to create a new authorized keygen, right? Because this is it's pretty much telling me here that I've previously used this keygen, but it was on a different micro SD card. So all you have to do is this. You're going to do SSH -keygen space, okay? Then you're going to do dash, you're going to do dash capital R, okay? And the last thing you're going to do is you're going to do 192.168.50.138. All right. Let's see. So we've updated. You can see that known host updated, original can retained at, yeah, sounds good. All right, cool. So let's try to log back in. So SSH, we're going to do pi at 192.168.50.138. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click yes, that I want to continue connecting. I want to add this fingerprint to it. So do yes and enter. So add in that password. We should be golden. There we go. Boom, we're in. All right. So pretty simple, like I said, and I'll drop, if I remember to, I'll drop it down. When you get this, you're just going to do that SSH-keygen space dash capital R, the IP address of the of this unit. In my case here, it was 138. So now from here, what we're going to do is, and SSH obviously is working at this point, okay, because we're logged in SSH into the Raspberry Pi. So the next thing we have to do is we're going to essentially enable our micro SD card to install the Docker, then the FLUX operating system. One of the things I've done, I tested this out the first time, was just to clone the drive, right? Clone the micro SD card to another micro SD card. And I was running into issues. Like it honestly took way longer for me to clone it doing a third-party app than it is just to download the Docker and put it all in from scratch. So for me, it was just simpler. I did on my second and third ones. This was a whole lot quicker for me to do. Just by installing the Docker. So we are going to go ahead and provision the micro SD card, set it up, and go from there. All right. Give me 1 second. Let me just pull up my cheat sheet to follow along. And all I really did on the very first time, because I've done this a couple of times, but I did this over a year ago. So I just followed my old video step by step. So I did a quick little cheat sheet, and we're going to move on from there. And since we're here anyway, we might as well do our quick little updates. I know we just downloaded, but just do a sudo apt update command. Throw in the password for the Pi. It's going to run it real quick. And at this point, so it's got 64 packages we can upgrade. What we're going to do is It's going to be sudo apt upgrade. Yep, just like that. And let it run its. Alrighty, so I did a quick little reboot on it. Ran the update. We got the 46 packages. Let's just make sure now that we can upgrade them. There we go. All right, so just took a quick little reboot. We're going to click yes for that. And finally finish. So from here, once it's done, sudo reboot. All right, let it reboot. Give it about, I don't know, 15, 30 seconds. Let it reboot itself. And then what we can do is we can log back in here. All right, so well, this is what I'm going to do. SSH pi at 192.168.50.138. I think, let's see if that's enough time for it to reboot. If it tells you that port 22 is closed, it just means that it hasn't rebooted yet. Just give it a shot. We'll go back into it. And my guess is that it has not rebooted properly yet. So let's just see. All right, so there you go. You can see port 22, operation timeout. So let's just try it again. There we go. Alrighty. So now we can throw our password in. And just to verify, once we get logged in here, we can see here that we are on Ubuntu 22. Oh, I'm sorry. No, that's not what we want to upgrade to. We are on Ubuntu 20.4.5. We do have 116 gigabytes of open memory or open space on our micro SD card. So from here, what we're going to do is we're going to provision it. All right. Command is going to be sudo space fdisk space -L. Okay. Actually, lowercase l, just like that. All right. That's what we want to do. Go ahead and put our password in. All right. And at this point here, what we want to do is we can see that we have our, let's see, we have our, oh, here it is right here. Okay. So we are SDA. Okay. Yeah, good. All right. So we are good to go with it. All right. Everything is in here. Like I want to see, this is our right here. This is our hard drive. Okay. Now I just want to make sure that my 232 gigabyte, or in this case here, I'm using a 250, but what's open space, I just want to make sure that it is, I'm able to actually see it. All right. So what we're going to do from here is we are going to make sure that it is mounted. All right. And how we check to see if it is mounted is we're going to log into it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check to see if the folder is even there. All right. So we're going to do sudo space su space dash. We're into the root. So from the root, what I'm going to do is cd space /. And I'm going to do ls just to see. And it doesn't look like I have my Flux thing in here. So from here, what we're going to have to do is I'm going to exit. I'm back at the Pi Ubuntu. Okay. And what we're going to do now is we're going to have to right here, this disk dev SDA. This is the SSD drive. This is very simple. And this is just going to be just exactly how we did in the last video, right? So we're going to do sudo parted space /dev /SDA. Okay. And what we're going to do with this part here is we're going to create our folder in the SSD drive. Okay. So let's see. So we are parted. All right, perfect. Okay. We are parted. If you want to pull up the list of commands, you can. I'm just going to run it through exactly how I'm going to want to do it. I'm going to create a Flux folder in my SSD drive and then go from there. Okay. Pretty simple. All right. So real quick, I don't even know what happened, but for some reason it didn't record this last part. So I'm just going to walk you through real quick. So like I said, we've mounted it. We did the sudo space su space dash. Okay. That gets us into the root. All right. And now what we're going to do is, like I said, we just want to make sure, and you could see that I don't have my Flux folder anywhere here. So what we're going to do is sudo space parted space /dev/SDA. And what we're going to do is once you do that, it's going to give you this. It's going to say GNU parted using /dev/SDA, and you're good. All right. You're going to come down to this column here. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to make the label. So you're going to type in MKLABEL space GPT. All right. You're just going to put this command in right here. It's going to tell you that there's an existing label. Do you want to continue? Just type in yes right here. Once that happens and you click yes, you're going to type this in. You're going to type in, just like in the last video, mkpart space primary space 2048s space 100%. So you're going to type in this right here. You're going to hit enter. And once it goes ahead and parts it, you're going to see that it's going to say parted. From there, just type in Q and enter just to quit. It's going to bring you, it's going to tell you just to update the etcfs tab. From that, what you're going to do is now you're going to type in this right here. You're going to type in sudo space mkfs period ext4 space /dev/SDA1. All right. And you're just going to create that partition in there. It's going to then tell you that last mounted, you're going to say, it's going to ask you to proceed anyway. You're just going to type in Y for yes and hit enter. Okay. From there, you just want to make sure that everything is good to go. All right. We have no errors. Everything says done. And now what we're going to do is we're going to create the media folder. Again, I'm just labeling my folder Flux. Okay. And what you're going to do here, it's very simple, right? It is, I'm just following my, okay, we're going to get back into the root. So remember, the root is going to be sudo space su space dash. We're in the root. Okay. From the root, what we want to do is, again, ls, you can see that we've got nothing there. So we need to create this. And what we're going to do is just make the directory on it. So we're going to go cd space /. Let's go ls, and you can see we've got everything in here. We're going to do this in the media folder. Okay. So we're going to type in cd media, enter. All right. We're in the media folder. We're going to do mkdir. And what we're going to do is we're going to, again, I'm going to label mine Flux. Okay. Make directory Flux, hit enter. And once we're here, I'm just going to type in ls, and you can see now I've created a Flux folder in my media folder. Okay. And from there, what we need to do is we just need to make sure that this is mounted. All right. So in the media folder, what we want to do is we're going to type in mount space. We're going to do /dev/SDA1 space. We're going to do /media, and we're going to do /flux. Okay. Just like that. That's what we want to do. We're going to hit enter. And bear with me here. There we go. Okay. So let's make sure that this gets mounted. All right, there we go. And we can see it's mounted. So what we want to do is just verify when we click that LS under media, we see that Flux is there. Okay. And from there, it should be mounted. And we're just going to, we're going to double check that it is mounted once we reboot the system. All right. So going on to the next step is, and what I'm going to do here is I do want to check to see, let's go CD Flux. I just want to see in the Flux folder, we're going to type in LSBLK space -L. And yeah, so you can see that we've got everything is mounted in here. Disk has been parted. Everything looks good. Okay. Yeah, sounds good. Piece of cake. All right. So next step is, next step is going to be, we need to get our UUID number. Okay. So just to recap real quick, sudo space su space dash gets you into the root. From there, you can do cd space / and then type in ls. It's going to give you all of our folders, which are here. From there, we're going to make a directory. So cd space media to get into the media folder, right? We could see that we are in the media folder. We're going to do make directory, mkdir space, and I'm just labeling mine Flux. Once it goes ahead and gives you the next line, type in ls just to make sure that Flux shows up, and we're good to go. If you want to double check to make sure that it's mounted once you get into Flux, just cd Flux, right? cd space Flux lsblk space -L. All right. Now from here, what we need to do, we're in the Flux folder. Okay. blk id space /dev /sda1. All right. And this is the UUID number we need here. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to copy this entire number right here. So come over here, you can hit right click and copy it. You can hit control, command C, however you want to do it. It's up to you. But we're going to need that number because we're going to have to put that into our FSTAB part of this. Okay. So real quick, once we get that, make sure you copy it. And what we're going to type in is, we're going to do nano space, and it is /etc /fstab. Just like that. Hit enter. Now we're in here. Coming on down. What we're going to do is UUID, the equal sign, paste that number in, tab over. We're going to do /media /flux, tab over. Tab over, and ext4, tab over. We're going to type in defaults. Okay. And what we're going to do is, I believe it's 0. Let me just make sure. Defaults, and then tab over 0. Okay. From there, what you're going to do is we're going to hit Control C, and hold on, let me just check my notes, because I know if you're doing a M2 SSD, it's a little different. I would just follow the original instruction video that you had there. Bear with me. So it was remove everything, defaults 0. So yeah, perfect. Okay. So we're going to do defaults 0 just like that. And what you're going to do is you're going to do Control S for control save, and Control X to exit, right? So Control S to save, Control X to exit. All right. And at this point, this is where we are. We're just going to do a sudo reboot to reboot this thing. All right, so now we want to make sure that it's mounted properly. So we did a system reboot, log in. Let's put the password in. We're should be going into it now. There we go. So what you're going to do is cd space /media /flux. All right, now we're in the Flux folder. Just type in ls. And when we get this lost and found, this means that it's been mounted properly. Okay. And that's pretty much it. So we've provisioned our SD, micro SD. We've now taken and made sure that we've got our SSD drive set up and it is mounted. The only other thing that you're going to have to do now is, and hopefully you haven't done this, you haven't deleted your existing Flux node off of your Zelcore. All right. Let me log in to my Zelcore real quick. And all you're going to do is just copy the transaction ID, the collateral ID, all of that stuff. You're just going to copy that and paste that in to the multi tool. So bear with me one sec. Let me log in. All right. And okay, so from here, let's just type in exit. All right, let's go SSH pi at 192, 168, 50, 138. We're going to log in. All right, and from here, we're going to go into the root. So remember, root is sudo su space dash. And once we're into the root, what we're going to do is we're going to copy that bash command, which I'll drop it down below, but it's in the Medium post that's from the original video. It's the same thing. If you haven't, my suggestion is just keep like I have in my in a folder, I have all the commands and everything I need to have for this. So you're just going to hit enter here. Let's see. Oh, hold on. My bad. So I've got to actually copy it from the website. So just copy it from the website here, drop it in. And now we're going to enter the multi-toolbox. Give it a second to, here we go. All right, cool. So what we want to do is we want to come in here, type in number 1 for install Docker. And just enter your username. So for me, this is just a Cumulus node. It's going to be my username. Throw my password in. Let it go through all its updates and everything. And once this Docker is now installed properly, and you get no errors. So let's see. And while this is doing it, so if you haven't, obviously, if it's been a while and you haven't watched that first video, this is the Medium post here that I'll drop the link down below. You just scroll down and you'll see right here in your wallet, right? This is the multi-toolbox. You're just going to copy this right here. That's all I do. Copy it. You're good to go. All right. Let's jump back over to terminal. And we'll let Docker install here. Give it a second. Okay, so she installed. Would you like to switch to the user account? Just put in a Y for yes. And now we are in the Cumulus node. Okay, so Docker's been installed. You're just going to paste that bash command again. We're going to log back into the multi-toolbox. And now we're going to install number 2, install Flux node. So go ahead and hit number 2. We're going to type in your password that you just set up for this. And this is where you're going to need your Zelcore information. All right. So let it run its stuff. And this is where we're just going to need to get the stuff from it. So it's pretty simple. You can log into Zelcore in the Flux node that's offline. So in my case, I had out of what was it? I had 3 that I had to do this to, because those 3 were I was using 64 gigabyte micro SD cards. So I've since doubled it, went into 128s. And what you're going to do is just go into your Zelcore, go to your apps, Flux nodes, and just go to edit under that Flux node. You're going to go to edit to pull up like the, you're going to need your identity key for it, the collateral ID, and then obviously your Zelcore ID, which is pretty simple to get. You know, if you've set up your Flux node, you've already done this in the first video, so you're just going to do this. So yeah, let's run it through, and this is going to be the longest part. This for me, depending on your internet speed, could take anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes to do. The other 2, that's about what it took. One was about 15 minutes. The other was about 22 minutes. Okay, so here it is. All I'm going to do is I'm coming over here. I'm going to click copy on the identity key. Enter that in. Then it's going to ask for the collateral ID. I'm going to go ahead and enter that in. And again, these are just found on the existing Flux node in your Zelcore Flux app. So my output index is 0. Click that, enter. And then I need to go over, you're no longer in the Flux node section. Just go to apps, go to Zel ID, and right under Zel ID, you're just going to copy your Zel ID. You're going to paste it in here. And you're going to want to add your Cadena as well, your Cadena wallet address. So just go back into your Flux, go to Cadena, just hit receive, hit continue, and I'm going to copy my Cadena address, click enter. And then now it's just going to go through all its steps. It's going to check it out, make sure you have everything checked. You don't want any errors. The one thing that it's going to ask you is it's going to ask you to restore your chain from a bootstrap. When that pops up, we'll jump back in. So this will take a couple of minutes to do here. All right, so from here, this is where you want to get the bootstrap from. Just make sure it's on number 1, click enter, let it run, and download the bootstrap. So this is where, depending on what your download speed and everything like that, this is what's going to take you the longest. All right, so once that's completed, now what we're going to do is enable auto update, go through the notifications. You're going to, in my case, I use Telegram through BotFather. You can use Discord if you want. Go to the original video and you can see how to set up your BotFather Telegram notifications, but I'm just going to pull all of this from my already existing BotFather. I just need to copy the token for my BotFather. Once I get that, then I'm going to put my chat ID and then my enter what I want for my node to be named. This is actually one of 5 nodes, so it's going to be labeled as Flux Cumulus Node or Fibs and Profits Cumulus Node 1. Okay, and once that is done, you should get all check marks there. The watchdog has been installed properly. And from here, you're just going to finalize the Flux installation. This could take, it says 5 minutes. I think the last couple of, the last 2 I did, it actually took closer to like 15 minutes to do. But you're going to wait for all of this. And then at the very end, you'll see that it says Flux installation was complete. All right, and then you'll see it ran the benchmarks, and then you get the installation complete. From here, what you need to do is we're going to jump over into our Zelcore, and you're just going to make sure that you can log in to the Flux operating system. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up Flux node number 1, click on the Flux operating system. And what it should do is now it should open up so that I can see. There you go. And once you get this screen here that says that you can actually log in to the operating system, you can go ahead and hit Start Flux Node, hit Close, and give it about 30 minutes, and it will be confirmed. And that's it. You're all done. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully this helped you out, and I'll catch you on the next one.